Views expressed on this program are those of the hosts, guests, and callers, and are not necessarily those of this station, its management, or other advertisers. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio.
You know that moment when you realize you have mastered your wellness. When you've become so resilient, you can conquer any hiccup life throws you. Yeah, well, me either. But I still ride unicorns. I'll teach you how to become a mindset master. You will learn how your habits and behavior affect your success in nutrition, exercise, relationships, organization, and so much more. It's your reality, and you need to do it your way. Self-care and self-love are anything but selfish. Take charge. Get excited. If not now, then when? Grab your espresso and get ready to talk all things wellness. It's time for Coach, Couch, and Coffee Radio with Coach Peggy Willms right now.
Hello, everybody. How are you doing? How was your weekend? Mine was pretty good. It was pretty good. Coming back from Colorado, adjusting to the difference in humidity. Yes, big difference. So we are finishing up our series on evil twins, procrastination and disorganization, how they are a little bit different, how they can blend into each other. And today is part 4 of the whole series, the part 2 of disorganization. So I would love for you to get caught up. Go back to either my Facebook sites. You can go to Transformation Talk Radio sites. You can go to my YouTube channel. All of the shows are on there. Or you can just listen to the podcast through your favorite way that you find your podcasts, Coach, Couch, and Coffee. Or you can find it with Peggy Willms. And it is not spelled wrong. It is Willms. So I am here with you every Monday night, 6 Eastern and 3 Pacific. And we always are having fun sitting on the couch, drinking our coffee. Yes, talking about topics of whatever relates to wellness, which is pretty much everything in life. And we might have some guests on to chit chat, or we might talk about some new tools and strategies. So that's what we come at you with. If you ever want to be on the show or you have some topics, always email me at coachpeggy@3wellnesspillars.com. You guys are brilliant. I keep doing this all these years because I learn as much from you as you probably learn from me, if not more. And I live for doing what I do for I call it the ahas. So that is, I live for when I can look at you and at some point in time, whether it's a week, a year, 10 years, you finally get back to me. Maybe. I love when people get back to me. Sometimes I never do, but they're off living the dream. But when you look at me and I see the whites of your eyes, the aha, when it's like, now I get it. I totally get what you were saying. That's what I live for. That's what my passion is about, is just helping something resonate with you in your real world. Yes, yes, sirs and ma'ams out there. Okay, so we've been talking about disorganization, and we've talked about what is it? We talked about, are you disorganized? We've talked about pros and cons and some facts. Those were all in last week's show. We chatted about some fibs. We know some of you, I do too. Too busy, some of those fibs. Today we're going to talk about tips. Sorry, coughing here while I'm chatting with you. So we're going to talk about some tips on how to get more organized in your life. And the very first one I want to share with you, it's just like any other, say, addiction per se. Maybe some people are addicted to disorganization, but any other addiction or anything that we do in life, we have to first admit it. We have to first say, you know what? I am disorganized, or I procrastinate a little bit more than I should. So I want you to admit that. And if you look back or listen back to the previous show, I gave you a huge list. So if you are more than 25% of that list, you are disorganized. Let's have you just admit that. Come on, no more fibbing. If you are disorganized, I've said this through every show this whole entire month, it doesn't mean you're lazy, doesn't mean you're not smart, doesn't mean you're a slob, it just means you're disorganized. And if you procrastinate, it just means you're a procrastinator. So we can figure that out, whether it's planning or scheduling or assigning things or reducing your options because maybe you're too overwhelmed. You can't figure out how to get started on this stuff. Maybe it's about trying to do a to-do list and measuring how you did and going back to that to-do list. So just recognize we all have tools and strategies we need to improve on. And there's going to come something in your life that is going to smack you upside the head, knock you off the wellness wagon, whether it's losing a job, whether it's your dog passing away. Something is going to, an injury, throw you off the wellness wagon, throw you off your life wagon, and you're going to become disorganized or procrastinate again. So tools and strategies might need to be different every time. Okay. So let's talk about the number one thing, admit it. Number two tip, you have to figure out what area of your life that you are the most disorganized. And it doesn't mean that it's the order that you have to attack it, because you have to figure out the area first. And then you have to just sit back and look at your life and go, wow, which one of these is impacting me the most? However, I want you to think about which one spins in your head the most too, because if you're saying almost daily, I need to organize my closets. Oh, I wish I organized my closets. Maybe this week. The amount of mental muscle that's taking, anxiety, you need to get your closets organized or hire someone. Okay, so let's talk about a few areas that I want you to think about. When it comes to closets, even, a lot of people are super disorganized in their holiday decorations. Many people don't think about that. And then all of a sudden next year comes around. Please take the time every time a holiday comes around. It is so worth it to get organized with those decorations. Toss the ones that are broken. The sales are usually the day after the holiday. So if things are broken, go replace them. Don't wait until they're 3 times the cost at the next Christmas Eve to go buy some. Get them the next day. So organizing the closets, kitchens, appliances, silverware drawers, bedroom drawers, maybe your finances or your desk area are all disorganized. The garage, remember I told you that some of the studies show that the garages are the number one place that things are disorganized. Yeah. Who are you going to blame for that one? I don't know. You could be blamed for the kitchen, so don't blame anybody else for the garage. And then, of course, I feel like health and wellness is disorganized because everything else can get disorganized. So the second thing is you got to admit what area you're also disorganized. And maybe your mindset's disorganized. I don't want to forget that piece. I talked to you about a special person in my life when we were talking about the procrastination piece, my oldest son, special person. And he's a little bit of the P word, the procrastinator word. And he had shared a lovely point with me is that, you know, Mom, I don't make lists because it's so darn overwhelming. I don't even want to see it on a list. And so for him, just he couldn't even break it down into what area. Like, what area am I procrastinating? Is it because I'm disorganized? I don't know. Because the whole umbrella of everything was so overwhelming. So it might not be a specific area. It could be just everything in general. All right. So the third tip I want to share is scheduling. To really help you with organization, I believe you need to stay tight to time frames and schedule things out. You know how we always say, my gosh, where did this last year go? Or it's tax season again. Or, oh my gosh, the kids are graduating. It seems like they were just in kindergarten. Well, the same thing's going to happen when it comes to organization. You're just going to put it off. And then the next thing you know, it's next summer and your winter clothes are still out or something. So scheduling is super important. If you can designate a certain amount of time and even commit that to someone else, that helps hold you accountable, just like wellness does. And if you say to someone in the family, I'm going to do this by whatever date, schedule that sucker out and hold yourself accountable. So here are some ways, just like wellness, talk about that in a minute. Think about it while we're talking about this. The same way to hold yourself accountable with wellness are some of these tips. Use all those tools out there that already exist, electronic tools. You could use your email, your calendar on your email, your phone calendars or alarm system. So you can use the electronic tool reminders, those strategies that are out there. And some of you are visual. So I work with clients when I start working with them, we do number of tests. I want to know their love language. I want to know what animal sleep cycle they are. And I also ask what is their learning style, whether they're visual or auditory or kinesthetic, tactile. I wish we did learning styles with our little kids when they were little, because, I think if our teachers would just teach the way our kids need to learn, whether it's visually or auditory, it's really tough to teach geometry to a kid who's auditory. Just saying. So I want you to think about, do I use electronics because it works for me, because I may be not visual? But if you're auditory, if you're visual, I want you to use something that is a strategy or tool visually. And it might be a vision board or a bulletin board or even a handwritten or printed out calendar or a day timer, just like you would menus or recipes, same thing. Okay, checklists. I'm a to-do list person. I still carry around a day timer. I know. And I have my day timers back to 1992. Why 1992? Well, probably because, how old was I? I was 28. I had 2 children, and that's when I actually started bodybuilding. I was, I think, the oldest one anywhere. And that's when I started keeping really close track of my workouts, how much I was teaching, all of that stuff. So I have day timer for every single year back then. So I need to see it. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about the 4th tip. The 4th tip is I really want you to figure out what you need, and I'm not downplaying this thing at all. This is super important with disorganization. What do you need? Do you need folders? Do you need labels? Do you need staples? Like if you're doing your desk or office, I want you to look around and say, what do I need to stay organized? Maybe it's some of those, what are they called? Those binders, 3-ring binders, something like that. Okay. Maybe it is hooks or hangers. So maybe doing some hooks in the kids' room and getting the coats up or the backpacks up would help you with organization, get them up off the floor. Hangers, hang some more stuff up, get them up off the floor. So you might need those tools. What about shelves? More shelves in the kids' room, more shelves in the kitchen. Maybe there's more shelves in the garage. That'll help you. Even in the bathroom, you can get some shelves that put behind the toilet that can get a lot of things out of those cabinets and organized up there. Yes. Gym clothes. Sometimes you need gym clothes to stay organized. Why? Because if you only have 2 sets of gym clothes and you want to work out 3 or 4 days a week, guess what's going to happen? You're going to be out of laundry on Wednesday. And then you're going to put that off, and then your laundry's not going to get done because you only need your gym clothes, and then everything's on the floor and not folded. So figure out what you need. All right. Assessment. The next tip, number 5, I call it asset assessment. And so that is, I want you to look at what you have and figure out if you need it. This is the big one. Remember I told you last week we use 20% of what we have. So 80% in our closet, we don't use. And I believe that's true in our kitchen. I believe that's true with those silly little appliances we got. For some of you, you are fad chasers. So the Instapot comes out, or those little boiled egg timer things come out, or the new recipe book. Hey, if you're not using them, donate them or get rid of them. The same thing in your closet. What I would strongly suggest is really, really just going through those and getting rid of half the stuff. What about garage tools? Guys, you don't need a bunch of Phillip head tools, screwdrivers that are all distorted and you can't even use them, or flatheads that have dents in them. Come on, get rid of those things. What about equipment in the house? It's a big, no for me. If you have, those elliptical machines, those kind of, not elliptical, but those old slider ones. What was his name? Tony something from back in the day. Little bubbly guy with the mullet. Those things, everybody had one. And all they became was coat racks. Everybody just put their crap on it. So I want you to do an asset assessment. If you don't need it, please get rid of it. Oh my gosh, it's going to clean up the clutter like crazy. All right. Tip number 6. It's KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. You're not stupid. I'm not saying that. Keep it simple, stupid. Same thing, same place. I want you to think about same thing, same place. So for me, the best example I can give you guys is this is my closet. I did this since I was a kid, and I don't think that I did this. I think I did it because I had OCD or something. I put the same colors in a row, and then within the colors, okay, this is OCD. I'll have long sleeves or short sleeves. I have pants together. I have skirts together. So I know right where to go. And also, this is probably crazy, but when you're kind of visual with what you do, you don't want to wear the same things over and over. So I tend to put what I wear to the very back, or I turn the hanger around so that I know I've already worn that. So that's what I do. But if you can possibly go through and try to keep it simple, okay, put it in styles or categories. Same thing in the kitchen, like things together. So why have your gadgets all the way over here? If you cook all the way over here, put your recipe books maybe up where they're more visible. And another tip that I love is if you're watching TVs, to organize your jewelry and other accessories. It's a perfect place to look at all those earrings you can't find matches to. It's also a perfect place to do that with socks. Everybody's socks, go get them. And if they don't match, get rid of them. And then the other thing, do you know what just dawned on me my mother did growing up? We had 3 of us. So we all had tube socks back in the day. And the long ones with the colors around them. And she didn't want them to get all mixed up and us all complain about it. So she took thread and color coded all the threads. So I don't know if I was green and my brother was red or my sister was yellow, but we had socks that are all our color code. God, that must be where I got my organization issues. That's hysterical. Okay, so 2 more. I want you to, actually, it's the last tip I think I'm going to use. Number 7 is the reward and celebration piece. I'm really big about that. You guys do not celebrate, and I don't either, the things that we do well. I really want you to look at all this. Once you admit what it is, the area you procrastinate, you are disorganized, and as you tackle through these things, make sure you set the time frame to get it accomplished, and then reward yourself, celebrate, connect it to something that's fun. Maybe you get something new. I guess I am going to give you a last tip because this is a big one. I see this with goals. When a goal gets completed, people go, whew, man, got that done. That's awesome. It's over. You know, I ran that marathon. And then they give themselves the authority to take a week or 3 weeks off. And that is the first red flag, slippery slope to going straight back to old habits. Same thing is with organization. When you accomplish a task, say for instance, this month is donating everybody's clothes. Everybody's got to go through their closet, blah, blah, blah. September is coming up, October, I should say. September's almost over. October is closets. Make sure you come up with some ideas for rewards. And when you're done, you have to pick another project within a week. I say the same thing with whether it's a 5K or marathon and you just completed it. You have to start some sort of goal within a week. Even if it's walking again or whatever, you can't take that full time off. Okay? All right. You got to be careful with procrastination and disorganization because together they're like a double whammy. Really work on maybe which one you do the most or that spins in your head the most. That's kind of where I would start with which one bothers you the most, yourself and others. So I want to give you what procrastination and disorganization kind of cause. It's huge. So the Mayo Clinic did a study and says that disorganization for sure is directly related to our health. It's absolutely a direct link to our mental and physical health. And I want to give you all the things you are going to see me read a list because I do not want to forget any of these things from this study. So here's what it causes. Emotional, anxiety, under emotional is anxiety, stress, self-image, and self-confidence. If you're disorganized, emotional, stress, lack of sleep, spin, spin, spin. Okay, what am I going to do? What did I do? Where is this? Excuse me. Waste mental and physical muscles. So the waste mental and physical muscles. Again, kind of the same thing when you're sleeping. Your mental muscle is spinning. Accidents go up. I'm going to just put that as a sidebar because we're not paying attention. When we're running around because we're disorganized, going much faster, running, twisting ankles, getting in car accidents. So mental and physical muscles are taxed. The physical symptoms are a pretty big deal. Headaches, backaches, joint pain. Maybe some of you hold your stress in your joints, neck. I'm kind of that girl. Illnesses, when we're disorganized and stressed out and procrastinate, illnesses. And what about relationships? I talked to you a little bit about that. And arguments are huge. The last show I had some questions about a couple, and it's not just one couple, that argue over mail. So your relationships, when it comes to disorganization, there's probably a bunch of arguments over where things are in clutter. So that's a big one. And then I think this is really fascinating with procrastination. I want to bring this up. I just pinged. Procrastinators assign things to their future self, which is fascinating to me because not only are you beating yourself up right now that you don't want to do it, your excuses are blank, blank, and blank, but now you're already assigned it to your future self to possibly fail at or be stressed out about. So that's fascinating to think about it that way. One of the shows I did on procrastination, I took you through an example of taxes. And that was probably one of the best examples I can think of right now on how we assign our future self the next week and the next week and the next week to deal with taxes when it's not going to get any better. If anything, it's just going to compound. All right. Let's see what Mayo said. There's a couple more things. Oh, you're making your own life miserable. I get that. And then selfish, how selfish it is because you don't realize how much it's affecting everybody else. So your disorganization, think about even how ticked off you get or short-tempered. Moms, I've been there. You're helter-skelter, running around, got appointments, got to get the kids to soccer, and you're affecting everybody else. And then you're also affecting your own self-image when you're disorganized. So those are some of the tips I want you to maybe come in through the back door of it. And again, like I was saying, is to come in with which ones are affecting you the most, emotionally, maybe physically, mentally. I know for a lot of my clients, I call it their movie. Like what movie is spinning and spinning in your head that you keep repeating that we could do something about, that we could come up with tools and strategies to break it all down. It's all about baby steps and make you feel like you're getting somewhere. Do a baby step, be accountable to me or another team and say, hey, I don't know how to do this. Help me do this and break it down. Then be accountable to me. And then we just keep going and going and going. And before you know it, you've got a couple things tackled. Dusting, sweeping the floor, I don't care. Motivation isn't coming in the mail. It takes actions, baby step actions. You're still going to have to do half this stuff. You still got to pay your bills. So what we talked about this whole month of September, again, go back through all the shows. What I want to mostly say is these two things are what affect my clients the absolute most. The way that it affects their wellness, when you think about the 3 wellness pillars I teach, the nutrition, the exercise, and the mindset, think about when you're disorganized in your home. Let's just pretend you look at the kids' room, okay, or your room, and you think about comparing that to nutrition. If those skills aren't there, those strategies, that desire, that motivation isn't there, in the bedroom, in the closets, it's probably not going to be there when you have to think about improving your nutrition. You're probably not going to have those tools and strategies dusted off to plan the grocery meal, the grocery list, so you can plan your meals, to pack your foods for the week, to get some new snacks in your desk at work because you are skipping meals and you're grumpy in meetings. Nutritionally, you might not think, wow, my sodium's creeping up because I'm super, super thirsty and I've packed on a few pounds and my joints are swollen. Might dawn on you to go, let's look in the refrigerator. It's super disorganized. There's 100 condiments that are now snuck back in here. So if you compare disorganization with nutrition, big time effect. If you compare it with fitness, moving more, being disorganized is actually a time suck, big time suck when it comes to exercise, because exercise takes a lot of time. So even if you're going for a walk, it takes a lot of time to go for that walk. And if you're disorganized, it's going to take a really long time to figure out how to fit that in your schedule and organize all the way around that. If you tell me you want to walk 3 times a week, I'm going to say to you what time of day you're going to do it. Who's going to help you do other things you would have been doing in that hour and a half? So you have to be organized and fitting in time to exercise. And for me, when I look at disorganization and the mindset piece of what I do, I hit sleep, I hit stress pretty hardcore. So I really focus on sleep. And if you're disorganized right up to the last minute, midnight, you're not getting good sleep. If you're not getting good sleep, your muscles aren't repairing, your brain's not repairing, and you're just going to hit that cyclical downward spiral until you get sick or injured. So that's me coming at you this month with procrastination and disorganization. Reach out to me. I would love to hear from you. I'm going to come back for an after party. Got some really cool questions that I've received, some scenarios to go over with you guys. If you come at me with any subject, how cool. Let's talk about any subject. Email me at coachpeggy@3wellnesspillars.com. On my website at 3wellnesspillars.com, kind of get sick of saying that sometimes. I also have a store on there. I have a list of all the programs that I can work with you. I'm going to be doing one coming up, getting ready to launch it's family and friends kind of thing. So if you're getting ready for a wedding and you have a bachelorette party, or you have a family where mom and dad are maybe cousins, or you have a group of friends and you guys all want to come together and work with me in a virtual series group, I'm going to do a 6 to 8 week series. I haven't decided whether I'm going to do 6 or 8. We can work together virtually through Zoom and set up your own Facebook site with me, private site, and we will work friends and family, just you and your special peeps, and figure out your goals and have accountability and super fun stuff. So come on back for the after party. See you soon. Hey everybody, welcome back to the after party here on Coach Couch and Coffee Radio. You can always find me on Transformation Talk Radio. Love those people. I love you guys. Love you guys, Kat. How are you? You ready to party at the after party?
Yes, yeah.
So we were chatting and I was asking you any of the tips that kind of resonated with you, and you were thinking about kind of the planning piece. Is that what was resonating a little bit when I was talking about the electronic calendars and stuff like that?
Yeah, I think what it was it appealed to me that the planning doesn't have to be the focus of the planning.
Oh my gosh, give me an example.
Well, when you plan something, like you sit down, you're like, I have to think like 6 months ahead. I don't even know what's going to, like, is it going to be rainy or sunny? What is it going to be? But if I don't focus on the planning, if it's like I have to put this information into this app or something.
Gotcha.
And then forget about it until it's time to deal with it. That seems better.
So how do you do when, say, for instance, on being disorganized, you have an area that you need to kind of conquer? You and your man say, hey, this is it. We got to conquer this area. How would you do if you break it down into baby steps and you're held accountable and you put some dates or steps in there for alarms? Are you better when it gets broken all the way down? Are you kind of like my kiddo I was talking about, that big umbrella, everything under it's like, oh God?
Yeah, I think I don't know. I feel like the time acknowledgement is actually part of what kills it for me. Is maybe it's more that I need goals instead of like a date. If I blow
Oh,
past blow past a deadline, then it's just doubles down on like, oh, now I guess I can't do it. Oh well.
oh, that's a good point. I see that with wellness goals. Okay, so let's just pretend that we say, okay, clean your garage.
And I didn't do it by the Sunday I was supposed to.
So would you be able to, if I say, how would we hold you accountable on
So
it?
find a place for the camping stuff, find a place for the wood stuff, find a place
Right,
for the recycling.
right. And how soon are you going to get that done?
Once I find the places, then I could
Right. See?
putting us the places and so on. So if it's, I don't know, maybe it just needs to be a story to me instead of.
Right. No, well, you're a creative writer too, so that
Oh,
makes sense. Yeah, maybe for you it's kind of like the mail thing I was talking about, is like assign specific things, because what's good about that is you truly are the only one that's in charge. So if in the garage you owned the find a place for camping, and in 6 months you still haven't found a place for camping, there's no one else to blame.
that's a good point.
I mean,
Actually,
no one.
for a couple things,
Because
budgeting.
if it's the whole garage, then you both get to blame shift, which is what I was talking about. It's like, oh, we should do that. Oh, but we've been so busy. We've been kayaking. It's been so awesome creating memories. I mean, why do we need to worry about the garage? But if you both figure out, you find a recycling place and you find, it's the same deal as mail. So, hey, who knows?
Yeah,
I love your
sounds like it might
scenarios.
work.
What's that?
Sounds like it might work. It worked with
Okay.
other things for us. So
Yeah.
he's got his wood shop out there, and I take charge of the camping stuff, and maybe that gets us
Split it
80%
up.
of the way there, and then the rest is just do it as you go.
It's kind of like the inside outside chore thing that I'll say to people. It's like, hey, if you want to take over the inside and he takes over the outside, or however you split that up, or one kid's inside, one kid's outside, and make sure it's kind of comparable with effort and time. You can't get blamed if the lawn's not done. I mean, mama isn't getting blamed if the lawnmower is broken 6 weeks out. So it's kind of nice to assign people. All right. I want to go over some questions on organization that I received via email. So this one's straight and to the point. I'm simply too tired to stay organized. Love, Charlie. Okay, Charlie, let's talk about this one. So I'll be honest, Charles, it is just an excuse. I mean, if you're going to tell me that you're too tired to stay organized, I'm going to say you're going to be tired tomorrow. You're going to be tired on Saturday. You're going to be tired in February. So it's just an excuse. To me, what you're telling me is you're too tired of trying to figure out a way to be organized. And it's okay. That is the emotion that you're assigning to it. The feeling you're assigning to it is I'm too tired. And so we need to figure out a way to assign mini tasks, maybe a little bit each night, so that you don't have to look at it as a really big project. We all work. We all have kids. And I often say, hey, you chose your life. Don't tell me how busy you are. You chose your life. You chose to have this job. You chose to buy the big house. You chose to buy the nice car. You chose to have 4 kids. If you're blessed to have chosen all those things, you're going to be busy. So I really don't want to hear it that you're busy. If you don't want to be that busy, then get a tent, become a minimalist. Kat and I were just talking about being a minimalist. I called it being a simplest. Eat some carrots, and you've made that choice. So if you're too busy, you have to ask yourself if you're one of those that just want to be busy to say you're busy. So we need to figure out how to rework some things. It's not your fault. You're disorganized just because you're disorganized. So a couple of tips I would say, Charlie, is to Lego stack some things. And I call that Lego stacking because when you put things on top of each other, it grows and makes you stronger. And what I mean by Lego stacking is kind of what 2 things or 3 things can you do at the same time. So my example was, in the last show, I believe that I said that you could do this one gal, or a tip I gave was that you could do your jewelries or accessories while you're watching TV. You're spending time maybe watching some quality TV or spending time with family, your kiddo. Ask if it's okay if you do your jewelry at the same time. So that's what I'd say, Charlie. Okay, here's another question. I live by myself, so it is what it is. I think I got this, the simple people this week. Lisa A. Oh, Lisa, I love you. I live by myself, so what it is. Okay, this one's kind of sad to me in a way, because the way we live is kind of the way we feel about ourselves, I think. I used to tell my kids, I actually wrote a story about it when my first year of college, when I was back in the day. I took 5 Englishes my first, year, and creative writing, all sorts of English. I love English. And in one of my classes, I wrote an essay on, I can't remember the name of it, but it was the front doors of everybody's house on my street. So I was driving to work and I started noticing everybody's front door. And like, this one was red and beautiful and the yard looked great. It's amazing. Remember when the red doors came in fashion? And then over here, the screen door is hanging and it's just dirty and it's like, oh my gosh. And then you look at the garage and there's stuff all outside and broken kids play slides. And then you're going down the road and it's like, you look at this as a nice porch and going up to this gorgeous door. And then you've got another door with like lions on the, and I just started to realize, wow, do doors really represent what's on the inside of the house, the inside of people, how they feel about themselves. And so to Miss Lisa here, living by yourself is still living with yourself. And my approach to this would be, how's your self-confidence? How's your image? Get a new shirt, girl. Feel good about yourself. Act like anyone could show up at any point in time. That's what I would tell you. At any point in time, somebody's going to knock on that door and what's going to happen. And you're not going to want to let them in, which is reducing your opportunity to talk to some people too. That's not fair. So I would just say start baby steps on the things that are the most potentially embarrassing. What I always told people closest to me, this is how I feel you're judged in your life on whether you're clean. I feel it absolutely has to do with your mail, whether you're organized with your mail, once you get past the door anyway, the mail, the laundry, and the microwave. Those are my markers. If you haven't done your laundry, it's all over the place. If you haven't opened up your mail, and if the inside of your microwave is disgusting, that tells me a ton of stuff. And I'm not even going to get into the bathroom. I'm going to keep it just simple. So please, girl, and all my teenagers and young adults out there, please think about how you feel about yourself, because mama could come over at any point in time. Or what if your new boss showed up? Seriously? Hi, we'd like to hire you. No, hell no. Okay. Any final thoughts that you guys might have after all these shows? Just send me an email at coachpeggy@3wellnesspillars.com. The main thing that I want to share with you guys, the big message of all this is, no matter what, whether you procrastinate or you're disorganized, it just really means that. Again, I've said it over and over. You're not lazy. You're not a slob. It's not that you're not intellectual, that you're not compassionate, loving. It's just that you lack a few of the skills and a few of the actions to keep you motivated and be successful. And I'll tell you, I have a coach, I have a mentor, and I have an accountability team. I always keep 3 people around me that smack me, that tell me things that I don't want to hear. And I fall off the wellness wagon. And if I didn't have those people on my team, they wouldn't push me outside my comfort zone. I wouldn't continue to grow. And the second I get complacent, they can see stuff. I have all my red flags that they can now see. It's yuck. But the main thing with putting these things off, you might need to find some new tools and strategies or somebody to help you through it. It's okay. I'd rather have you seek help than not seek help and lose some sleep over not seeking help. So give me a holler. I'm going to see you back next Monday. Next Monday, we are going to be talking about hurry up and fail. I know. Hurry up and fail. So what do I mean by that real quick? Hurry up and fail means that at least you're trying to do something. You're trying to grow in a certain area. You're trying to reach that bar. You're trying to get into that college. You're trying to take on a new diet, or you're trying to reach out to a guy you want to date. Whatever, you're taking an action. So if you keep plowing forward and you make a mistake or it didn't go so well, at least you took those actions, and you have actions that you can then look at and assess on how you could do them a little bit differently to keep plowing forward and improving, maybe going against in the same lane to go after the same goal, or maybe you're going to modify it and go after something else. But hurry up to fail. That's what we're going to chit chat about. Baby steps matter with our talk this last month. So you can email me at coachpeggy@3wellnesspillars.com. And I love to hear from you. So I want you to get real, keep it real, and I'll talk to you real soon. See you next week.
Thank you for listening to Coach Couch and Coffee Radio with me, Coach Peggy Willms. Did you hear something that made you go, or have an aha moment? I live for those. If not, we will get you next time. I will be back every first and third Monday at 3 p.m. Pacific. The tough love you to become smarter, stronger, braver, healthier, and happier. Duh. I will be back with a barrel of positivity, and you never know when a guest might pop in. There is no time for excuses. So don't forget to bring your coffee and an open mind as we talk all things wellness on Coach Couch and Coffee Radio with me, Coach Peggy Willms. Now go grab a ray of sunshine.